All right, welcome to another episode of Key Biscayne Stories, where neighbors meet neighbors. Today we have Jackie Gross Kellogg. She's a Key Biscayner since 1975. Before we get to know Jackie, we have a quick word from our sponsor. The Academy of Martial Arts in Key Biscayne, more commonly known as RDCA, is proud to have served this island paradise for 27 years. RDCA is a family-run business headed by Sensei Robert Dusoglu with his daughter and son, Morgan and Derek, both senseis as well. They use the martial arts, elite conditioning, and life quest, their guided self-enlightenment course, to forge a stronger you. With over 100 plus years of combined martial arts experience between the Dusoglu senseis, RDCA provides a holistic approach to self-defense, covering a unique blend of stand-up, close-quarter combatives, technical groundwork, weapons training, and traditional forms. Over 3,000 students have walked through the doors and trained on the mat at RDCA in the last 2.5 decades. They are proud to continue this legacy today and pass on their knowledge to the next generation of future black belts and life questers. Join them for a free introductory class to kickstart your martial arts journey. You can call them at 305-365-0129 or visit their website at rdcamma.com. For more information, you can check out the show notes. So back to Jackie. Like I mentioned, Jackie has been around since 1975, and she also works at the Biscayne Nature Center. That's pretty exciting.
It's fun.
Jackie, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. So exciting.
You were highly recommended.
Yay. Oh, wow.
You have to have Jackie on the show.
Oh, my goodness. Yay. Sorry, my seat's a little wet because I rode my bicycle here and it rained. Sorry.
Oh, you got caught in the rain?
No, it's probably my bicycle got caught in the rain.
Oh.
And then since I was running late, I just sat on it anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. It's
So,
fine.
so I just kind of like move around a little bit. So, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Jackie, since 1975, I'm sure you've seen the key change a lot since 1975.
Yeah, it doesn't even, it's so different. And I have friends who lived here even longer, but yeah, I just remember 75, 76, because that was the big bicentennial year. And it's funny because now we're approaching July 4th, and that was, we used to, the whole thing was, you decorate your bicycle. And so for some reason, I don't know, my mom thought we should look like pilgrims or something.
Yes.
And so my sister and I, we went all out with these long dresses. Imagine in the heat. And then, put red, white, and blue ribbons all over our bicycles, and we just ride in the bicycle in the parade. So it was a lot less complicated. I don't even know how it worked, just show up at one time and everybody was in, but there's some great pictures that are passed around about that year. I'll look for one.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Because I was about to ask if you had a picture to share with us. So the cool thing about the 4th of July parade is that anybody's welcome to join it. And they still do that. And I remember also me being in a bike with the I think at the time was the Academy of Martial Arts. They invited us to do the bike. So I had my bike and I had bags of candy, and we were throwing the candy out.
And what was that, a while ago, or because now you're not allowed to?
I was a child.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, and then they made it so you can't throw stuff. Yes. Then they made it that you can't, blast people with cold water.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
I kind of feel guilty about that because I think it was my fault. Because actually, no, it was kind of like. I had a girl, okay, Nelson Zambrano, don't be mad at me, but so I had a Girl Scout troop, right? And we were right behind the Girl Scout, but right behind the Kira float. And so that's just a prime target, right? For me, growing up on the Key, I think it's funny, but some of the girls in the troop and their moms didn't think it was funny, but we got slammed with the high-powered freezing cold water bottles. So my Girl Scout too, because at the time they were probably 7, 8 years old, and so they were screaming. So it was kind of like a scene out of like a Caddyshack movie where everyone's like, and then suddenly, and then all the Girl Scouts out.
But where did the water come from?
Oh, it came from the key rat float.
From the okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe the judges saw it or somebody complained. It wasn't me. And then it seemed like the next year they stopped the cold water guns. I wouldn't say it was even like squirt gun.
Yeah, there were like these pumps.
Yeah. And it was freezing, which is, I don't know, that's just part of growing up on the Key. Like that kind of, you just got, shaving cream in your face. I don't know. Just
I think they still do the shaving cream, and the toilet paper is a thing.
Yeah, because they're so fragile now. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. When I was preparing Jackie's intro, I asked her, "Do you want me to refer to you as Key Rat or Key Biscayne?" And she said, "No, a Key Biscayne preferred." Yeah. Because apparently back in the day, Key Rat was known as a no fun person or something.
Well, no. Okay, so all right, you're like my psychiatrist now. Okay, so the thing is, so I was in awe of Mr. Foster, who was the PE teacher. Okay. And people who are listening who know. I mean, he seemed like he was like 8 feet tall. He wore this like white jumpsuit and a hat. Anyway,
PE teacher
and a whistle and a stopwatch. And he was the president of the Key Biscayne Athletic Club, or the founder, everything athletics, which was me. So he was like, did not Key Rat know bad, because Key Rats were like, they caused trouble. You had to do certain things to become a Key Rat.
You had to do certain things to become a Key Rat?
Yeah.
No way. Honestly, there was like a.
You know what? I'm going to take the fifth because I just can't go down this road. Anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah, one of them I know was caught like running through Shady Grove, which was kind of a scary place because now it's the Village Green. It's all nice and cute.
Oh, with the coconut tree plant or something?
Yeah, it was a V.B. Rebozo property that was like a, I don't know, never-ending nursery for coconut palms. Something like that. Yeah, this is my history of things. Like, I don't know, but they called it Shady Grove, and probably homeless people in there. But people built little forts and stuff like that. I don't know. But one of them, you had to, it would make your life so much easier if you were walking down Fernwood and you need to go to Crandon, you could just cut across. But back then was like, no, you're going all the way around, because no way was I going to cut through that. Anyway.
Got it.
So that's just how I remember it. So I'm sure there'll people be listening who will correct me, but that's just how I remember it, because I don't know, I was 7 or 8 years old back then. So anyway.
So what are other, I guess, childhood memories you recall from your early days here in the Key?
For me, maybe a little bit different than my friends. My parents, they just loved living on an island, and they loved the ocean. So my dad was a big sailor. He had been in the Navy. And my parents actually, the first 3 years of my life, we actually spent on Easter Island, which is Rapa Nui now. So then they made the big mistake of moving to New York, New Jersey, Yeah. And then they didn't like it there. Chicago, also, I think my dad was with American Express. And then then we found our way to Miami. And then my parents found out about Key Biscayne. So every weekend we were on the beach, and we just used to snorkel all the time. The beach was really different than it is now. And my dad used to fish, and he would go out late at night with a net and catch blue crabs, and he used to bone fish, and my sister wasn't really like into that kind of stuff. And so I would just do everything with my dad, go out to the beach and, kind of learn, learn by, I don't know, being pinched or hooked by something.
Oh,
yeah. Or had a flipper in my face, knocked off my mask. Like that's what I remember a lot. But what's cool was that, I mean, I don't know if it's, ecologically, it probably wasn't the best thing, but there was the seawall, right? And I've tried to explain it to people that didn't grow up with it, but say you went to the beach by the Commodore Club, right? And then there was this stairs, go up the stairs, and that was, I think, the Island House. And then you come down the stairs, and then you'd hit this long seawall it kind of had some barnacles on it. I don't know, maybe it was like 2 feet wide, right? And you'd walk down and you just walk that thing forever, and the water came right up to it. So when you sat on it, you could sit on it with your mask and snorkel and your flippers and just right into the deep sea. And there was so much to see. You know, there were all these little reef fish and everything. And so we would have this inflatable little Zodiac, and we just push it over the wall with mask and, you know, snorkel and flippers, and just spend the whole day out there, you know, looking at stuff. That was really different.
So,
I mean, it's better now, sand, I guess.
the seawall?
Yeah, because it was, at one point, I don't know, it was like the sand was more towards the Commodore Club down to the cabanas, you know? That was all sand, right? Okay. And then the rest to that, to say like the beach club, that was the seawall, little sand, abandoned, you know, those little houses that were part of the Key Biscayne hotel.
Okay.
So you were always kind of poking in the windows. What's in there? I don't know. So, and then at one point the water got so high, like it was impossible to walk down to the lighthouse. So like I remember I went away to college, I think, and I came back and they had put in the sand. And I remember calling up my friend Terry White, we're still neighbors. And we were like, oh my gosh, we can walk down to the lighthouse. So we did this big walk down to the lighthouse.
Wow, I cannot vision a seawall there. But now we have the beach, which has been, you know, renourished multiple times.
One time I remember Paul Zuccarini posted something that said like, anybody who knows what this is, you know, and it was like, I guess one of those storms where maybe the seawall had been covered up. So it's under there somewhere.
So right now, if we look for it, there's a seawall. Okay, so it wasn't removed.
So I don't know if it was broken up. Somebody knows. But he discovered a piece of it kind of by, I think, the Ocean Club beach area. So it was like, see, I'm not making this up. There was a seawall.
It is real.
Yeah.
It is real.
It's real, the seawall.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh.
So you mentioned that your sister wasn't a big fan of doing those things. So you spent a lot of your all this time with your dad.
It's so funny because all of this is coinciding because I recently spoke at the school board meeting. So I was thinking about my sister because my sister was just a big reader. And so she was reading chapter books in kindergarten, which now would be like, oh my God, what would you do with a kindergartner who read chapter books? You know, you can't read. There's nothing you can read. It's all been taken away. I don't know. They used to like, I remember she had Mrs. Carpenter was her kindergarten teacher, and they should just set her up with this little like soft area corner, and she could just read her chapter books in kindergarten all day long. But, you know, not me. I was more of like sports, you know, we had amazing PE back then, that's for sure.
Good PE classes
great
back in the day.
Classes, yeah. He set up this kind of like mini Olympics. every PE was like, I mean, long jump, standing broad jump. We used to do this thing where you would it was a high jump with the metal bar, and you'd run. You know, you didn't use the stick to lift you over. I don't know. You just judged it, you know, and then it was the most exciting thing ever. And then over the weekend, I guess he'd put the big paddy thing, the big, I don't know, mattress in the courtyard of the elementary school. So we would all climb. I know, it's bad. We would climb up to the roof of the school, and then we'd actually jump off the roof of the school onto the pad thing. I'm going to blame Mike Smith. Anyway, and jump onto that. We would just do that all the time. And that's just one of those funny things we all talk about now, like parents, I don't know. Like, see you when the sun comes down, whatever.
Well, they say, I've heard a lot of, I'm not going to use the word adults, but I've heard from others that back in the day, things were much funner. when there were not that many rules. I'm sure you can't do that right now. I'm sure right now it will be impossible because of the new school is too high. But jumping on the roof and jumping off will be tricky, especially with the parents. And
Yeah, now there's like a real police squad here. So
that's right.
they know everything. And there's so much more, private lots, private. There was always empty lots. Somebody would rig a rope swing, Mac Easton, and you would just, do that. And now that I always think this is so funny, how you found out when and where to meet, I don't even know. There was
like how do you? Hey guys, let's meet at pizza at 4.
I don't even know. It's like bees; they just know, and then we just find each other. So that was fun. My kids love when I tell stories about that. Like even as you get older, you would say like, okay, we're gonna meet somewhere. I'd meet up with my friends in DC and we'd just meet at one place and people would actually show up.
You can't bail.
Now, I think that's the thing with cell phones. It makes it so much easier to bail. Like, oh, sorry, I'm out.
Yeah, without the cell phone, you can't be like, hey, I'm gonna be late or I'm not gonna make it. You can't do that because
people are waiting for you, right? You're gonna show up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I kind of keep that motto. Show up.
That's awesome.
Invite me somewhere, I'll show up.
So tell me about your work at the Biscayne Nature Center.
Yeah, I started working there. It's officially been a year. I was on the board for a long time, like 10 plus years. And so I've just been doing a little, I guess, job hopping. I was part owner and manager of the Key Biscayne Soccer Club for like 10 years. And then during COVID, stopped, to make a long story short. And then started working for the Coral Gables Community Foundation. Super interesting. Learned a lot of interesting things about funds and, just the whole, another community, right? Interesting. And then I started working to manage the summer camp at the Biscayne Nature Center. And so now here I am a year later. And summer camp is just the best time of the year. It's really fun. We fortunately are able to give many scholarships. So we have a great diversity of kids, which is, I think, my favorite part about Miami, the diversity of our demographics.
Scholarships to attend the summer camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We have scholarships throughout the 8 weeks. And the final 4 weeks is a full scholarship. It's called Michael's Magic Camp.
Okay.
In part due to the Schultz family, who are also longtime Key Biscayne residents. Their son, Michael, passed away in the early 2000s. And so the family and friends started a fund with the Key Biscayne Community Foundation to start this camp scholarship called Michael's Magic Camp. And so the last 8 weeks this year will be dedicated to mostly fourth graders from Charles Hadley Elementary School. But right now we have a mix of scholarship campers, and paid campers, and we're having a blast. It's just, they're having so much fun. They, it's a long day. So it's from 9 to 5. We have a great team. We have many of our counselors are studying marine biology at Rasmus or FIU. And so they really get in it with the kids, identifying all the creatures in the seagrass. We do coastal ecology. Oh my gosh. So every morning, snorkeling, swimming, incredible art with an artist named Jackie Rausch. And we do yoga. We do music with this guy you have to have on the show sometime, Grant Livingston.
Okay.
He sings all these songs about South Florida nature, which is really awesome. I'm trying not to get one of the songs in my head right now. Hallelujah.
You gonna start singing?
Yeah.
For free.
Lionfish. There's other things. They're dangerous. Lionfish menace.
And these are his songs?
These are his songs, yeah. And so through songs, they start to learn all this stuff. What are invasive species? Melaleuca.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's great. What? Come the next time he's singing, you'll love it. He's fun.
Is he there every day?
Every week.
Every
week he comes. That's new this year. He's here every week. So, anyway, camp is a blast. And the Nature Center is a beautiful place to be.
I've been there.
So yeah, it's been really nice to kind of come full circle working there. Again, I remember going to field trips when I was a kid. The Nature Center wasn't there. It was, I think, from what I understand, it was, I don't remember specifically. I just remember, this is the best part. I remember they said, ride your bicycle to school today. We're going, on a nature field trip. So everyone would actually make sure they rode. Everyone rode their bikes to school anyway, but, definitely this day. So, we'd ride our bikes to the end of Crandon Park, right?
Okay.
And then leave our bikes. And then, and then I definitely remember we would take, a long walk down the coast and into the mangroves. And there was, I think they ran it through the concession stand, and then at one point they had a trailer, and then finally built the beautiful building we have today. Okay. So, but I definitely remember those field trips. So I've always been connected to nature. So it's really nice to be there.
The Academy of Martial Arts in Key Biscayne, more commonly known as RDCA, is proud to have served this island paradise for 27 years. RDCA is a family-run business headed by Sensei Robert Dusoglu with his daughter and son, Morgan and Derek, both senseis as well. They use the martial arts, elite conditioning, and life quest, their guided self-enlightenment course, to forge a stronger you. With over 100 plus years of combined martial arts experience between the Dusoglu senseis, RDCA provides a holistic approach to self-defense, covering a unique blend of stand-up, close-quarter combatives, technical groundwork, weapons training, and traditional forms. Over 3,000 students have walked through the doors and trained on the mat at RDCA in the last 2.5 decades. They are proud to continue this legacy today and pass on their knowledge to the next generation of future black belts and life questers. Join them for a free introductory class to kickstart your martial arts journey. You can call them at 305-365-0129 or visit their website at rdcamma.com. For more information, you can check out the show notes. So I guess for those that haven't been to the nature, like I've been there, I'm familiar, took a tour once, and it's very nice. Very nice. Also, you have the paths. What would you recommend maybe someone who hasn't been there, who wants to go for the first time? How can they experience that whole nature center?
Well, I definitely think just go into the gallery and take an hour and actually read everything. So just go into the gallery. They have the maps, so you can see the 165 acres and see all the cool trails you can explore. And then, there's a display case of all the different kinds of life that is there, marine life, bird life, reptiles. It's interesting because everything there has been there at one time or another, right? Okay. So that's interesting. Then on the other corner is the story of Marjory Stoneman Douglas, right? So learn about her life, which is really interesting. She came here to Miami, that's what they called it back then.
Miami?
Yeah. Her father was a newspaper man, the whole story. But what I love is that, she just began to, this is someone from the Northeast, and she began to really, to study the layout of the land and became, a naturalist and really saw what was going on. And, especially with the Everglades. And then eventually with Bear Cut Preserve, and began to teach people to see our environment in a new way, through her story. She was an incredible writer. So our executive director had the opportunity to actually get to know her pretty well. And so we really honor her legacy at the Biscayne Nature Center. And then move into the aquarium, okay? Right. And there you'll see it's kind of set up to look like a mangrove, you know, so you would see examples of all of the reef fish that we have. And then we have a touch tank as well. And the touch tank is actually kind of my favorite part because I kind of equate it to like Roman times. Okay. Crazy things happen in that touch tank. Like, there's this sea cucumber, for example, who's been there like 6 years. How he survives everything. He outmaneuvers everyone else, you know? The hermit crabs, the starfish, the brittle star. There's some new baby horseshoe crabs.
Is it the sea cucumber that has survived? Does it have a name? You guys named it or no? We don't.
You know, I don't think we've named it.
We don't try to attach
Maybe everyone has a different name for it in their mind. But I tell people, this is what I say. I go, if we're not careful, one day this is all we're going to be eating. And you hold up the sea cucumber. So,
oh, yummy.
Yeah. So there's that. But it just cracks me up because lately I've been really fascinated by hermit crabs. I mean, I've always liked them my whole life with their little blow pincher, you know. But yeah, so I think it was like on Radiolab, I heard this incredible story about this woman trying to raise hermit crabs, and no other scientist in the world has been able to breed hermit crabs. So it's really interesting because if you think about it, I mean, here's this species that completely depends on another species, you know, thing that they've made, the shell, right? The gastropods, right? They make the shell. Then they leave the shell. They either get eaten or whatever. And then the hermit crab moves into the shell, right? Mm-hmm. I just find that so fascinating.
They find another shell.
So, no, the gastropod dies. They don't move from shell. Like, that's their shell that they make. You know, it starts off like little and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, think about anything from, you know, the smallest little snail to a conch, right? Big.
And what was the name of it?
Gastropod.
Okay.
Like, it's a soft-bodied, basically a marine snail, right? Soft-bodied. So so the shell that they make, right?
They make the shell.
They make the shell. And so conch is an example, right? So here, anyone listening, conch, the animal, the shell is endangered, so stop poaching it.
Oh, okay.
Because I know people go to Bahamas and they eat it, but here in Biscayne Bay, you know, stop taking them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a serious problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they actually take 10 to 15 years to actually get kind of that size where we know them as.
Okay.
So it takes a while, right? And if you keep poaching them, then there's going to be none left.
So you were going back to the gastropod. The gastropod makes a shell, and then it's taken once the gastropod.
Sometimes the shell gets, you know, rather large, but sometimes it stays small, right? And that's what the hermit crab is looking for, because they don't get huge, you know. So, I mean, hermit crabs are amazing. I digress, but somehow or another in hermit crab language, and you probably should just get a marine biologist in it because I'm just someone who's grown up here. I mean, I did do like a bunch of master naturalist classes, you know, but I just kind of talk about things that fascinate me. So hermit crabs have this hermit crab language, right? That they actually communicate with each other to line up. Like, okay, it's time to, you know, switch houses, you know, and they actually move in and out of the shells to find the one that's just right. They work together.
So wait, you're telling me that they gather
in a line, in a line.
It's time to switch. Maybe your house.
Yeah, there must be a boss man there who's making the decisions because somebody loses out. So, if you think about it,
there's a loser.
And so someone is like, I'm the shell, and then has to run around because they'll get eaten. It's terrible.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that soft body, the back, it's not a tail, it's just the thorax, the whole back side. I actually have a picture I'll show you later, but it's pretty cool. It's okay. I should tell you why, because to give cred to these girls from Carrollton who found a crab in a Corona bottle, actually at the beach club. Okay. And they brought it in to the nature center, and they were very upset that the poor hermit crab was stuck in, I say stuck, right, in the Corona bottle, but we were like, but it's alive. It looks very healthy. So we said, okay, we'll take care of it. So we put it in the touch tank, where all interesting things happen, and we laid it down. And then sure enough, watched it come all the way out, had a couple little houses, little casitas ready for him to move into, right? Watch him come all the way out, look around. We're like, oh, get out. Come on. And then go all the way back in, and then realize, wow, he likes the Corona bottle. It's like 360, 24/7. He's looking around. He sees everything, and then go back out, but then dragging that bottle. So overnight, because all things happen at night, he moved into another shell. And then another shell, He's the most active hermit crab I've ever seen, because he was used to probably a year or two with 24/7 light. And when you're in a proper shell, you get some darkness, You need a little time out, hermit crabs,
They sleep?
They must. I mean, they're always like that. And they put their big claw, cover their face. Yeah, their eyes. But this one, you have to come by and see before he gets eaten. his eyes are like really like, usually their antenna, their eyes are more out like this, and this one, his eyes are like that, like, yeah. I see everything,
Maybe we should have him on the show, or.
So yeah, I'm trying to get him to move into. I actually bought this really cool glass shell that this artist I found makes in Vermont for that purpose, so that you can see the whole body of the hermit crab. And he went in there for 24 hours, and then I think he didn't like getting picked up all the time. So move shells.
Oh, because once with the glass shell, you're able to see.
The kids can see the whole, the whole body, because you only see the claws and the eyes, but when you see how vulnerable they really are, Anyway, a day in the life at the Biscayne Nature Center.
No, I love it. Yeah. I mean, the Nature Center is pretty cool, and it's a fresh, a beautiful space to be at.
Definitely. Yeah. I know enough people don't come just to chill. You don't have to do seagrass adventure, coastal ecology, hiking. Like, you can just go and chill. And there's one area when you first come in, it almost says meditative garden. It's got beautiful gumbo limbo trees and benches, and you can just, we were talking about mosquitoes before. You have to just meditate past the mosquitoes.
Exactly.
Just
the mosquitoes
past
are
mosquitoes, right? They got their purpose. Yeah.
You are like a supreme meditator.
I think a sign. Yeah, I think it's a proud whatever to just. I'm a Miami person. Mosquitoes don't bother me. Like, you get when you're a kid, I think you get bit, you get a reaction, but you can get bit enough and then you don't get a reaction. That's where I am for a long time. Awesome. I mean, I'm like,
So, what is as a closing question?
Okay.
On the show here.
All
Thank
right.
you so much for jumping on the show and telling us your story. Just a fraction of your story.
Yeah.
But what is a perfect weekend for you and your family here in the Key?
Okay, so it's a little weird, probably a little dark, but my perfect weekend would be that somehow I've managed to get all of my kids, at home, right? Maybe I made them bagels or something, and I've guilted them all to spend the morning with us, right? And my husband, Joe. And suddenly there's a torrential rainstorm. You can't leave the island.
So they have to stay.
They have to stay.
Yeah.
Yay. And we all just hang out and watch I love storms. I'm on the 5th floor, and I just love watching huge storms come in. not hurricane, but
Yeah.
huge storms,
I
right?
understand.
And yeah, ideally the lights wouldn't go out, but it's enough of a downpour. And you know how it goes. Lasts maybe like 2 hours, and then we've had a good time. And then they can leave the island if it's not too flooded, right? So that would be awesome.
Rainy days in the Key are nice. And I know what you mean. I also lived in a building and watching the storms come in. It's very nice. So I know what you
Yeah, I just love watching all that water come in. You're just like, wow, this is awesome. All this fresh water, you know? And hopefully,
mean. And you see the clouds turning.
And I'm thinking like, my rain barrel is filling up. Yes, it's so
I
exciting.
have a rain barrel?
I do, because I'm on the rooftop.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I have a rain barrel. And then I also have kind of buckets around to kind of make it go into the rain.
Good.
And then if I get a clean catch, you know, like stuff hasn't slid from the roof or something, I love to wash my hair in the rainwater. It's very good for curly hair.
Okay.
So there,
Now we know you heard
anyone
it here.
out there, knows
You heard
that.
it here.
Okay.
Rainwater is good for curly hair.
Yes. Makes it nice and soft.
Well, Jackie, it has been great to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing.
Oh,
your
thank you. It's
story.
fun. You're a good what would you call it? A good interviewer, host, fun.
whatever.
Yes,
Dude.
definitely. Yeah. All right.
The Academy of Martial Arts in Key Biscayne, more commonly known as RDCA, is proud to have served this island paradise for 27 years. RDCA is a family-run business headed by Sensei Robert Dusoglu with his daughter and son, Morgan and Derek, both senseis as well. They use the martial arts, elite conditioning, and life quest, their guided self-enlightenment course, to forge a stronger you. With over 100 plus years of combined martial arts experience between the Dusoglu senseis, RDCA provides a holistic approach to self-defense, covering a unique blend of stand-up, close-quarter combatives, technical groundwork, weapons training, and traditional forms. Over 3,000 students have walked through the doors and trained on the mat at RDCA in the last 2.5 decades. They are proud to continue this legacy today and pass on their knowledge to the next generation of future black belts and life questers. Join them for a free introductory class to kickstart your martial arts journey. You can call them at 305-365-0129 or visit their website at rdcamma.com. For more information, you can check out the show notes.